It starts with a B, but I won't say it. I want to say it.
The former president casting doubt on the outcome before votes are even counted by once again spreading false claims about election integrity, placing the blame on his supporters if he loses.
No, all we have to do, if we get out our people, it's over. There's nothing they can do about it. It's nice when you have that, right? You know? In other words, to make you feel a little guilty, we would only have you to blame.
Trump leaning into anti-immigrant rhetoric, pledging mass deportations, calling the U.S. an occupied country.
The day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. It begins immediately. The United States is now an occupied country.
At his rally in Pennsylvania, the former president called some undocumented immigrants nasty people, floating the idea of migrants having their own fighting league.
I want the migrant to go against the champion, and I think the migrant might actually win. That's how nasty some of these guys are.
And at one point, Trump suggesting boxer Mike Tyson should get in the ring with Vice President Kamala Harris.
Mike's been through a lot, but he could fight. Let me tell you, that guy could fight. But can you imagine Mike? Oh, he says, put Mike in the ring with Kamala. That would be interesting. No, but can you imagine?
In recent weeks, Trump trying to appeal to young male voters, doing a series of interviews on podcasts, and getting a big endorsement from one of the most popular podcast hosts in the country, Joe Rogan.
I just want to thank Joe Rogan. That's fantastic.
Trump's campaign needs to win over female voters, too, where polls show Harris has an edge. At that rally in Pennsylvania, the crowd positioned behind him, largely female, holding pink signs reading, "Women for Trump." The Harris campaign has seized on the former president's comments that he will protect women whether they like it or not, and Trump's own statements that he would put Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has pushed a range of conspiracy theories, in charge of women's health.
Oh, Bobby, you got to do one thing. Do whatever you want. You just go ahead. Work on the pesticides. Work on making the women's health. He's so into women's health. And, you know, he's really unbelievable. It's such a passion.
And Diane, Donald Trump will cast his own ballot in Palm Beach before heading to an election night watch party in that area as well tonight. Diane.
ABC News senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott, thank you. And Vice President Harris is planning to spend election night at her alma mater of Howard University in Washington, D.C. She spent the last day on the campaign trail in must-win Pennsylvania, closing things out with a star-studded event in Philly. The polls opened this morning in Pennsylvania. Right now, polls are also open in battleground Nevada. ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the latest on the Harris campaign.
Just over 100 days since Kamala Harris was catapulted to the top of the Democratic ticket.
Harris practiced as she preached, door knocking in Pennsylvania.
Kamala! Kamala!
Her chances could rest on how many women she can turn out, especially older and independent voters.
I'm a Republican. I am voting for Kamala because she stands for everything right, truth, justice, and I'm just so sick of the hatred.
They really do think that democracy is at a brink, and that would be devastating. And I'm also for women's rights.
Harris signed off in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the United States. In the coming hours, the people of this country will determine where it goes next. Martha Kellner, Sky News, Philadelphia.
Our correspondent Cordelia Lynch joins us now from a polling station in Atlanta in Georgia, one of the battleground states expected to decide the race for the White House. Cordy, what's the scene like on the ground there now?
Hello to you, Gillian. Well, it's a noisy start to Election Day here in Atlanta. A lot of enthusiasm. This is Stand Up Georgia. The whole idea is to try to encourage, as they say, black and brown people to get out and vote. So we've got basically a party at the polls, got a lot of dancing, a lot of people being called out on the street to come in, to come and cast their vote. And this is a critical swing state. We are expecting it to be one of the first to declare on election night quicker, they say, than the state has ever been able to return a result. 75% of votes they think will be counted by about 9 o'clock this evening, with maybe a result come midnight. Now, let me come and speak here to Jazzy Lane Jones from Stand Up Georgia. Tell me, we've heard a lot, Jazzy, about this idea that fewer African-American people are willing to vote this election. What are you seeing and hearing?
Well, the numbers never lie. That's number one. Here at Georgia Stand Up, what our job is to educate, give resources, and let people know what their rights are, because